Today, our lesson has to do with the explanation of textual evidence. This is an incredibly important component of an inform explain essay. Within the body paragraphs, every time you share a piece of textual evidence that proves the topic, you follow with an explanation of the evidence. Writers explain textual evidence by explaining how or why the evidence proves the topic. So I'm going to share with you an example from my paper about the Little Rock Nine. I'm going to start my body paragraph with the topic sentence, followed by textual evidence, and then, this is the new part today, I'm going to explain the evidence. I'm going to explain why or how the evidence proves the topic. So, to begin, my topic sentence. To begin, the Little Rock Nine persevered through many obstacles when they attempted to integrate Little Rock Central High School. 9 African American students attempted to enter Little Rock Central High School on September 4th, 1957. However, they were turned away by the Arkansas National Guard. Arkansas Governor Orville Faubus had ordered the National Guard to stop the black students from entering the school. I have my topic sentence followed by textual evidence. I chose to paraphrase this textual evidence. My next step, I need to explain how this information about the events of September 4th, 1957, how this information proves that the Little Rock Nine had encountered an obstacle. I have to explain why or how the events of September 4th, 1957 are considered an obstacle. So I'm going to use a transition phrase. And one that tends to be one of my favorites is the word clearly. So I want to say clearly this is an obstacle for the students because they are unable to attend school right now. So, or clearly the students are encountering a challenging obstacle because they aren't even allowed inside the school building. So the words that are coming out of my mouth, I'm going to write on paper. And I think the end result of my explanation is, clearly the first day of school was challenging because the black students were not even allowed to set foot on the high school campus. Writers explain textual evidence by explaining how or why the evidence proves the topic. So in purple, I have my explanation of the evidence. I'm basically telling the reader and just reminding them, yep, the events of September 4th were challenging. It was an obstacle the students had to overcome. So now I'm going to give you a chance. I just modeled for you how writers explain textual evidence by explaining how or why the evidence proves the topic. Now I'm going to give you a chance to practice. And I am going to include the second piece of textual evidence that supports this topic, that they persevered through many obstacles. And then you are going to be responsible for explaining how the evidence proves the topic, how the evidence proves that these were obstacles. It was an obstacle the students had to overcome. So our next paragraph, or it's the same paragraph, we're just adding on more textual evidence. To begin, the Little Rock Nine persevered through many obstacles when they attempted to integrate Little Rock Central High School. 9 African American students attempted to enter Little Rock Central High School on September 4th, 1957. However, they were turned away by the Arkansas National Guard. Arkansas Governor Orville Faubus had ordered the National Guard to stop the black students from entering the high school. Clearly, the first day of school was challenging because the black students were not even allowed to set foot on the high school campus. I have my topic sentence, cited textual evidence, explained my evidence. Now the next step is to transition into a second piece of textual evidence. So I'm going to use a transition such as shortly thereafter, or the next incident took place on, and I chose the phrase the next attempt as my transition. The next attempt to attend school was on September 23rd. Escorted by the city police, the 9 students entered the school. While inside the school, the students were harassed by protesters that had gained entry to the school. So, the Little Rock 9 were sent home due to safety concerns. So, the incident on September 23rd is also an obstacle that this particular group of students had to overcome. Now it's my job to explain how or why this particular text evidence proves the topic, that it was an obstacle. And this is where you are going to practice explaining the evidence. I gave you the transition phrase without a doubt. And now it's your job to write a sentence that proves and reminds the reader why the events of September 23rd are considered an obstacle for the Little Rock 9. When you are done writing the explanation of the evidence, raise your hand and I will come check in with you.